So as I was lying in bed this day, and again, I was like a week into this illness and very, very sick, I contacted the doctor to ask for a different prescription or that I was not even strong enough to get to the doctor again. They called in a new prescription, but there was no way I was going to get that prescription. And as I was lying in the sunlight that day, I let my body go and my spirit lifted out. And it was the most freeing, beautiful, peaceful experience of my life. I went into the light, the most beautiful lightning strike, extraordinary white light that we do not have the words to describe. I was a sphere of light. I did not have my body, and it felt as natural as having the body does here. And I felt released and free and happy and blissful and peaceful and calm and excited to be there. And there was absolutely no attachment. There was no fear. There was no actually anything of what I let go. And in this light, I was the sphere of light, but there were variations of light. So you could distinguish what it was. But I felt that it was kind of like a holding place. Like I wasn't quite there, like almost the platform of a train, right? I was on the platform of the train going to the other side. And then I noticed two light beings heading my way from the distance, and yet it was no distance. It's kind of hard to describe. And these two spheres became light beings, so shaped of human form, but light, brilliant white light. And one on the left was a little larger, more masculine. The one on the right, more feminine energy. Not that the visual was feminine or masculine, but the essence of them were. And then they morphed in and out of the physical form, what I would call the physical form, versus the sphere form. And they began to communicate with me telepathically as one thought and then individual thoughts. And they greeted me and I was ready to go. They greeted me with calm, with kindness, but with purpose. And what they explained was that I had complete free will to go to the other side, to make this transition. And I was ready. I was like, yes, let's go. But it was apparent that they had a job to do, that they were there to make sure that I had all the information to be able to make this decision clearly. And so they gave me what I call a relationship review. And for many years, I would never listen to another near-death experience because I did not want it to impact my own. I didn't want to bring in information that was not as pure as my experience, meaning I didn't want it to dilute my experience so that I could hold it so intimately. And I understand that many have life reviews, but this one was a little different. This was a relationship review, whereas I didn't see anything on a screen or anything visual. It was about feeling. And I know that I went through all my soul group and the feeling of the relationship, but the only two that I remember were my husband at the time and my son. So the first one being my husband, I felt this unconditional love, this pureness of love for the experience and the appreciation for the knowledge and wisdom of having this relationship. And it was beautiful. There was no attachment. There was no woulda, coulda, shoulda. There was no judgment. There was nothing about, oh, what's going to happen when I'm gone? None of that. It was just the purity of the love and appreciation for the experience. And then, as I think was strategic, the light beings gave me my son, the relationship of my son, and the pureness, the softness of this love was so divine and beautiful. And I was so appreciative of being able to be the mother of this incredible being. And I was gushing. I was in just such love and appreciation of the knowledge and wisdom of the experience. And then after the experience washed away like the others did, I was calm and I felt wonderful. And I was like, okay, great, let's go. I still had no attachment. I still had no desire to go back. And any of you that are a parent, especially I think mothers, we have that special bond with our children, or even fur babies. You're attached, but there was no attachment. And believe me, this was not the same Lee that was in physical form, because I was very attached and still am now, very attached in the physical. But on the other side, just the purity of love and appreciation, no judgment, no attachment. And so these light beings said to me, well, there's still something else that you need to know. This being, your child, is a very young soul in this incarnation, right? Almost 3 years old. Losing his mother at such a young age will be so devastating to him, which apparently had happened to this soul before in previous lives, will be so devastating that he will not be able to fulfill his desired destiny. And with that, they ask if I would feel the feeling of the loss of his mother. So of what he would experience at the loss of his mother at such a young age. And with that, I felt this extraordinary pain, and I described it as shards ripping through your soul. You would not wish this kind of pain on anyone, not an enemy, much less someone you love, much less your child. And after the near-death experience, for months, easily 6 months to a year, I couldn't describe this to anyone without bawling my eyes out. It was that visceral. So of course, the light beings did their job well. And so I agreed. And I said, I will come back and be this beautiful light's mother. And I will do the work of the light. And there was some negotiation, which I go into more detail in the book, Temple of All Knowing. But with that, I was back in my body.